Hello my wonderful, beautiful friends guys, welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady, where Karens keep confusing regular people as employees. And in today's episode, Karens are running wild yet again. They're getting arrested, getting embarrassed, stalking people. I hope you enjoy the stories, don't shake your heads too hard, and as always, you can send or link your post to this email right here. Let's dive in. So this happened years ago. I think it was like 2016-ish, and I was working as a receptionist in an office. My boss/owner of the business was actually a very good friend of mine that I had known for a really long time. Anyway, she would occasionally give her employees gift cards to different places to buy some work attire, as the dress code kept changing as the business did. On this day, I took mine and set out to Target. I was in the fitting room trying on some stuff when I hear what sounds like a stern, angry woman talking. When I come out, it is in fact a stern, angry woman talking. She's standing with who I assume is her daughter, in front of a mirror that was in the hall of the dressing room area but not in the room itself. She's basically railing into this poor girl who can't be more than 13 to 14 years old, saying if she lost weight, that clothes might actually look good on her. Now, the lady was actually pretty big herself. Not that that's a bad thing, but hypocrisy and mental abuse is. This poor girl looked defeated, and I kind of watched them as I handed my items that I didn't want back to the girl working, and then said something along the lines of, "Man, some people suck," in a voice that I thought was pretty low, but I guess it wasn't. The Karen thought the girl working the counter said it at first, and starts going after her. I told her I said it because the girl didn't know me and didn't need to lose her job over me. I mean, I'm sure you can guess what happens next. Karen basically marches up to me and screams that she wants to talk to my manager. I try the whole "I don't work here" thing, but her rebuttal is "I obviously do, and I'm obviously here on my day off and should still be reprimanded for being rude about a customer to my friend." Now at that point, I'm about to tell her that I couldn't care less, when a new idea dawns on me. I say to her, "Yeah, you can talk to my manager," while getting my phone out. I then say I just have to call her because she isn't here today, which is entirely true. My manager was at home that day getting ready for a party that I was later attending at her house. So I call my friend and she answers and I say, "Hey, I have someone here at Target demanding to speak to you. She wants me fired." Now, of course, there's some quite obvious confusion on her end. All I hear is, "Okay," before putting her on speakerphone. Like, I'll be damned if a stranger's gonna press my phone against their face. I then say to Karen, "Okay, you're on speaker." And immediately, Karen, aka Bitchy McBitchPants, starts yelling at my friend how awful I am and what I did. And is also adding spice that it's awful that no manager is on the floor to deal with the situation today. My boss starts laughing hysterically, which made Karen even more angry. She then says to Karen, "Well, if you ask for a random person's manager, don't be surprised that they don't work at Target." I lost it at this point too. I apologized to the nice lady working the rooms, put my phone to my ear so I could laugh it off with my friend/manager, and started to walk away. Of course, Karen's still yelling at me because I'm awful, and I see what I assume is an actual manager coming to the rooms. I tell my friend that I'll call her back and head back to see what lies Karen tries to spin, and also try to make sure that she doesn't accuse fitting room girl of anything. Lo and behold, she was trying to blame that girl, and starts yelling about that stupid idiot, me, coming back, and I should be punished too. Luckily, the manager saw me and immediately says, "I've never seen her before in my life. She doesn't work here." The angry lady then says that she can't deal with her lies anymore and grabs her poor, embarrassed daughter and starts walking away. The manager apologized to me and the employee, but it's not like I ever blamed him. He was super kind. Once I got back to my car, I felt bad that I didn't give the daughter the rest of my Target gift card, but I knew there was no way I could have. So I called my manager back and we just died laughing at the situation we were just in. Yeah, even if OP were to give her that card, Mama would have probably thrown it away or just spent it on herself. What an awful woman though, the way she treats her own daughter and complete strangers. And I only wish that OP taught her a bigger lesson and embarrassed her. So this didn't happen to me personally, but a very close friend of mine, on his way home to visit. My childhood best friend was coming home to visit from the military. He's stationed in San Diego. He had sent me a text message to inform me that they had gotten back from their 5-month deployment, had gotten approved for leave time, and he had just bought a plane ticket home, and he would be coming home the next day. I just so happened to be home on leave myself, so he asked me to come pick him up from the airport. My friend hadn't told his parents about the trip home as he wanted to surprise them. My friend took his first flight to Chicago, where he had about a 4-hour layover. Now, he wanted to surprise his family in uniform, so he decided to bring his recently pressed and cleaned dress whites in his travel garment bag. When he landed in Chicago, he knew he had time to kill, so he decided to get some lunch and find his gate, so he would be ready for his next flight. He got himself comfortable at the seat by the gate and struck up a conversation with a Marine who had just graduated boot camp from Parris Island and was on his way home to visit his family. Now, my friend's been in the Navy for about 5.5 years, and he's a lieutenant. He asked what flight the Marine would be going on, and he found out they were both catching the same flight. After a short amount of time talking, my friend asked the young Marine if he could watch his belongings so he could get changed into his uniform. The Marine agreed, and my friend got changed and quickly came back to his seat. As the flight approached, the gate attendants prepared to open the gate for passengers, and my friend had gotten up and he was in line ready to board. He then notices a well-dressed man and his wife arguing with the gate attendants at the counter, demanding first-class seats that were available. The man had become very angry and began to raise his voice to the attendants. After some back and forth arguing, the wife notices my friend in uniform and she immediately storms up to him. The woman says, "Are you really going to let your flight attendants treat us like this? Do you people know who we are?" My friend was confused about why she was asking him, considering he was wearing an all-white uniform and the pilots had a white top with black pants. My friend said to her, "Ma'am, I can't help you. I'm not who you think I am." The woman scoffs and says, "Of course I know who you are. Do you think I'm stupid? It's your plane and you decide where people sit. And I need to sit in first class." My friend tells her, "Ma'am, I'm not a pilot, and even if I was, I don't think that's how it works." The woman then says, "Don't lie to me. I know you're a pilot. You're wearing that damn uniform, and you have the stupid things on your shoulders to prove it." My friend then tells her, "These are shoulder boards, and it means I'm an officer. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm a pilot." At this point, the man at the counter finally gave up trying to argue with the attendants, and noticed that his wife was arguing with my friend. He realizes that his wife has mistaken my friend for someone else, and he interjects into the conversation, attempting to calm his wife down. But this is simply making her more irate, as she now starts shouting obscenities at my friend. My friend basically says, "I don't know why you're getting angry at me. You initiated the conversation and made yourself look dumb." The woman responds, "I've been flying with this airline for 20 years, and you bet your ass I'm gonna tell your boss how you talk to me. I'm not letting a punk talk down to me. What's your boss's name? I wanna know right now." My friend doesn't hesitate to pull out his skipper's contact card, and he says, "Here's the number to his office. Tell him Lieutenant so-and-so says hello." By this point, she had her phone out and she was dialing the number when security shows up. Security told my friend to go ahead and board, so he won't miss his flight. As he walks up to the counter, the attendant thanked him for his service, and my friend told me the look on the woman's face was priceless, as she was being told she's not getting on the flight. Instant karma for a horrible woman. Oh, silly Karen, like even if OP was a pilot, her being so demanding, yelling at him, and harassing him would be the fastest way to not get onto the plane. And seriously, it's so funny how some people think that they deserve special treatment for being customers for so long. I've been flying with this airline for 20 years now, so upgrade me to first class. Like, ma'am, if you want to fly first class, buy yourself a first class ticket. This is my first post here, so I wanted to take the time to tell everyone a little about me. I'm a retired paramedic, and I was recently reminded of this. So on this day, I just finished a 12-hour shift, running on a total of 4 hours of sleep the night before, and I had to make a stop at Walmart. I walked into the store, still in full uniform. Now, the uniform was easily confused with police and security guards' uniforms, as they were navy blue shirts with a badge, ID, French blue pants with navy stripes on the pants legs, and work boots with zippers on the sides. I was in the dairy aisle, getting some milk before heading from the back of the store to the front to finish my row-by-row shopping method. So I got my milk and I was about to push my cart onto the next stop, when out of nowhere I encounter Queen Karen. Now, before she made it to my aisle, I'll have to admit, I did hear some arguing the next aisle over. Something about get me that bag off the top shelf. Then, in a more demanding voice I heard, I told you to get the bag for me. I'm not asking you so nicely again. What followed sounded like two younger boys talking to one another, saying something like, who does this old geezer think she is? So with that, she then marches into my aisle. She sees where I'm standing and screams, you there. Now there were several others around me, so I thought nothing of it and continued my shopping. Again, as I stopped to get the eggs, she says it again. Are you ignoring me? I need your assistance. Now with that, I looked around and I had to ask, are you speaking to me? She then says in a condescending voice, well, you're the only security guard I see here, so yes, I'm talking to you. And I need you to stop pretending like you're shopping and kick these juvenile delinquents out of the store. At that I respond, I don't work here. The woman says, you can't be shopping. You're the only security guard on duty, so quit wasting time and get those obnoxious and rude children out of the store. I told her again, ma'am, I am trying to shop. Karen then says very angrily and aggressively, you either help me or I will have you fired and banned from any job in security. You will never work in security again. It's at this point, things went downhill fast. My sleep-deprived and normally calm, cool, and collected demeanor was spent. Running on 4 hours of sleep the night before had me in a grouchy mood. I had had enough. So I told her with my deep voice, I do not work here, woman. I've tried to tell you 3 times, but you kept running your mouth and you never allowed me to. She attempts to interrupt, but I stop her and say, see, there you go again. I do not work here. I just got off a very long shift. Why don't you find an actual security guard here? I'm a medical professional. Now leave me alone. I want to do my shopping and go home. I left her as pale as a sheet and made it far enough away from her before she starts shouting, you just go ahead and leave. You never think about coming back. I know the manager very well, and when he finds out, there will be hell to pay. She then picks up a bag of sugar and she throws it at me. Of course, it misses, and the bag explodes all over the floor. It just made one hell of a mess. The manager now heard what was going on, and he asked me what happened first. Hearing that, Karen went ballistic and she screams, you already take his side? I'll have you know that 2 other hoodlums harassed me and they made fun of me for being old when I wanted help. Your security guy was very rude to me and refused to help me when I needed it. I demand he's fired and never gets a job in security again. The manager let her speak and we didn't interrupt, and then I gave my side of the story. I pretty much told him everything I overheard the boy say and how she began to be so rude to me even after I told her multiple times that I don't work here. I told him he may want to check the security footage because if she laid a finger on those 2 young boys in any way, then assault charges need to be pressed on her. By this time, she's trying to make her way out of the store, but the manager radioed the true security and had them stop her until law enforcement could arrive. When I made it to the front, she was being put in handcuffs and she was crying, screaming, my husband is a local mega church pastor and I promise you, he'll make sure all of you rude liars burn in hell for mistreating me. So yeah, that was the one time I encountered a Karen like this. Yeah, so I'm willing to bet her husband isn't a mega church pastor, guys. Like, people love to say the darndest things, don't they, when they don't get what they want. And if I'm wrong and he is one, my goodness, sir, your wife is out there thinking she's extra special. So this is a story for the record books. It happened hours ago, and I'm still trying to process how and why it all happened. I live in a mid-sized city. Tourist trap, if you will. And I work for my mother's catering business as a pastry chef. I work from home and I don't have a uniform. Also, this took place in Wally Mart. My mother and I went to said store in a big shopping center. I was wearing a white t-shirt with black leggings with flip-flops. I keep earbuds in on silent as a please don't talk to me method. I'm in the bakery looking for some nummies when a nice man asked me what cake I think is good for a little girl. I ask what she likes and such and flip through the catalog, but he ends up picking a pre-made one, with me pointing him to the party supply aisle. I then pick my own goods and follow my mom to meats, and then baking supplies, then electronics, then diapers, then I went to the crafts and sewing department. I sew cosplay, and I'm making something for my niece's first con, so I'm kneeling by the 99-cent fabrics when I hear the click of heels. My mistake was looking up. I notice a woman a bit older, wearing short wedge heels and the rest typical early summer attire. She didn't have the haircut, but sunglasses on her head, and arms were already closed and a face that just screamed, "Don't bother with reasoning." Let's call her TK for Tourist Karen. So I return to my search, earphones in and silent, when I feel 2 fingers tap loud thuds onto my shoulder. It's Karen, and she says, "Hello?" Removing an earbud, I say, "Yes." Karen says, "I need water bottles." I say to her, "Okay." At this point, she's getting louder, and she says, "Show me where they are." At this point, I catch on, and I say, "Oh, I don't work here, so no need to yell." That's when Karen says, "Well, that's stupid of you to say. You just helped a man in the bakery just now." Now bear in mind that this was over 20 minutes ago, and as we were taking our time looking at things in the store, this nut had tracked me down instead of a real freaking employee. So I say what I'm surprised that many in the sub haven't. I say to her, "Miss, being a decent person and helping someone if I can doesn't mean I work here." At this point, my mom comes around, behind her like a ninja in the night, and says, "What's going on? I'm her mom." Hearing my mom say that, the lady jumps, looking at my mom all bug-eyed for all of 2 seconds. She then points at me and huffs, "Your daughter was extremely rude to me. She said I was a bad person just for asking for help." My mom kept her cool and said, "I was on the next aisle over. She told you that she didn't work here and you yelled at her. Also, she's an adult, so why are you telling me?" With that, Karen turned up her nose and she stomped off, which we thought was the end. After we checked out, she appears with the manager, screaming and pointing at us. The manager just looks at her like the crazy she is, saying the employee she harassed wasn't even an employee, and if she wanted, they could get the footage. Karen groans and she goes for the discount rant, which I wish I could have seen the result of, but we left. If you think I'm done, this is just the beginning. We then go to the store next to Wally Mart, a chain grocery store, to find what we didn't. My mom decided to leave me on my own and goes to a different store, while I'm picking out things in the freezer section. Right as I'm dumping pizza rolls in my tiny cart, an employee knocks over a few boxes of stuff on the floor. I rush over and help him, it looking like he was too scared to be seen making a mistake. As I'm doing that, I hear a loud "Aha!" I then turn, and I kid you not, I was met with the same displeased face with a worse looking grin. It was Karen, and she said, "I knew I would find where you work. Now I can tell your manager that you were rude and you made a mess." I tell the woman I don't work here either, I'm just helping this poor guy out. Karen says, "Shut up. I'm gonna get you fired for making me look stupid." I tell her, "You did that to yourself. I don't work anywhere near either place. Leave me alone." The employee backs me up and says, "Ma'am, she doesn't work here. I've never seen her before." Karen says, "You can shut it too, or I'll have your job too." Just then, a manager comes to see what the yelling was about. I think, screw the pizza rolls, we got mac and cheese, and I sped down 2 aisles and out the door. Still, not the end. I guessed my mom would be in the dollar store by then, and lo and behold, she was. Being told I looked like I swallowed a bug, I tell her what went down, and she says stay close to her just in case this mental patient got loose again. So for about 10 minutes, it was calm. I was reading birthday cards for my sister, picking out pool toys for the new pool, and just being Karen-free. And then the bubble popped when I hear a very stern, "You!" I look up, and there's Karen staring right at me. As scared as I was by my mom, so instant mama strength gave me the patience to deal with Karen a 3rd time today. I say to her, "What do you want?" Karen says, "I want you to go up there and explain what happened, or I'll get you fired." I tell her I don't work anywhere in this center or part of town. My boss is right here. Karen starts complaining to my mom that I left her standing there. And I'm ready to end this at this point, so I say, you followed me into I don't know how many stores and insisted I work there. You leave me alone or I'll get the police. I do not work here. Karen then picks up some granola bars from the shelf and she tossed them at me. She then cussed and screamed like a rabid animals as customers just seemed to look. And fun fact about Dollar Store is that a security guard is always nearby, as shoplifters are rampant in a store where everything's a buck and under. Out of nowhere, this big guy comes through and he holds her in a bear hug. She's growling, fighting, scratching, and trying to bite before he's able to radio for backup. Minutes pass and this lady's in handcuffs because the shopping center is very close to a station. I get to make my statement in front of onlookers, laughing at the absurdity of the whole thing. The woman ended up getting taken in anyway for calling the police officer a moron and kicking the seat as he was about to uncuff her. She then cried as he shut the door and she said the one line to rule them all. She said, "Will you let me go when I take my meds?" I hope she never visits again. I hate tourists. Oh man, guys, finding out that Karen was off her meds actually made me feel a bit bad. And also, I can't help but to think that a lot of these encounters are Karens that are off their meds. But with that said, that was a wild ride, guys. I don't know how OP kept their cool and stuck around. I'd be out of there so freaking fast. The best way not to deal with these people is to just get away from them. Do not entertain these Karens. And that, my friends, brings us to another end of our /IDontWorkHereLady. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's stories. If you did, hit that thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing so you don't miss these crazy episodes. And if you missed the last episode on the channel, it's an r/entitled people episode where Karen thinks her daughter sucks and demands OP give her daughter to her. It's such a crazy story, so go check it out if you haven't. And myself and Stevie Boy will see you guys in the next one. We love you.